All right. Hey there. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 16, also known as Episode 152 of the Retro Game Club podcast. I am Hugh, and joining me is someone being pulled from Steam. Rob.
Yeah, I guess part of my genetics is Nintendo firmware, I think. Is that how it works?
I think so. I think if you include cracked Nintendo encryption keys in your software, you will get pulled.
Yes, go figure, right?
Yes, I hear that Nintendo does not like cracked encryption keys.
Word on the street is that Steam actually approached Nintendo and said, can you please ask us to take this down? So it would be Nintendo being the bad guy, but Steam didn't want it up there anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure Steam doesn't want it. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the RetroArch on Steam is only like 10 cores. They're the ones that don't violate IP outright.
Yeah, and for Nintendo to basically, I mean, Nintendo could buy out the Dolphin emulator for probably $10,000. I don't think it would cost them much. A threat of a lawsuit, they could probably acquire all the IP to it.
Yeah.
But they probably don't, Nintendo probably doesn't own all the IP that's in the Wii to begin with. Like, that's the thing they're considered, like, you know, they use third-party chips. There's probably some stuff in there. Like, this is why whenever you ask Microsoft, like, hey, Microsoft, could you open source Visual Basic 6? A lot of people have asked for that over the years. And their answer is, we don't even own all the IP to that thing.
Nice. It makes sense, though. Yeah. Have you been up to anything video games lately?
A little bit. I've been traveling a lot the past couple of weeks. I don't want to go into, like, all the various reasons why, but I've been on the road. I drove... I don't know how many miles, but it's the equivalent of about 4 days of driving over the past few days. So no, I haven't really played a lot. I did post 2 catalogs that I'd sitting around for a long time, both from 1993, and they're basically the same catalog because they're only a couple months apart. So that's kind of interesting. There's a May 1993 catalog, which has like a preview of Street Fighter 2 for $75. And January 1 that I don't think had anything interesting in it. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at, but it's not anything like new or exciting.
But people still complain about $70 games today.
Yes. And then, I don't know, I'm starting to feel really cramped again, so I'm debating getting rid of some stuff again, but I just don't know it's worth the hassle. You know, there's a big difference between what people list stuff on eBay for and what you actually get as a seller. Yeah. But it's stuff like, I will probably never own a TV that works with a light gun again. And I literally have a box of, I don't know how many, at least 2, maybe 4 NES zappers, and a boxed Super Scope 6.
Nice.
Which is impossible to ship. Like, that thing is, the box is 4 feet long or something. Right? And I see people listing those for like $100. I just don't know. It seems like a lot of hassle. So, if there's anyone in the northern Chicago suburbs that desperately needs light guns or a Super Scope 6, you can email us, email@retrogameclub.net, and we can work out something. Because I don't want to go on Craigslist, right? You know.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be, sold into slavery or whatever they do on Craigslist when you meet them.
Yeah, I think most of the police stations in my area have like a parking lot for Craigslist transactions now.
Yeah, the last time I went to on Craigslist sell an audio amp, a guitar amp, and I told the guy like, there's a bank by my house that has tons of cameras, and there's the police station, and the guy who wanted to buy it was offended. He was like, if you don't trust me, this person that you've never met in your life, I am offended, and I'm not going to buy it. I was like, cool, I just saved myself from getting shivved.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. I don't know if someone would murder me over a Super Scope 6, but dumber things have happened. So
yeah.
The only article that I read this week, I know we have news and stuff, but I am over on the Arcade Blogger. This is a site I follow. I read this really crazy article. Did you see this? About them finding a stand-in, what they call environmental, discs of Tron arcade cabinet literally on the side of a street.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this. And my mixed feelings is I wish it was me.
Okay. I thought you were questioning the legitimacy.
No, I think it's legit.
I think it is too. Because this site has posted all kinds of other like arcade finds and stuff. It looks real. I don't have any reason to doubt it. But yeah, I guess the person getting rid of it didn't want to explain why they were getting rid of it. Just, I needed it out of my garage.
Yeah.
So probably like an X or something is, I'm guessing.
They had no idea it was one of the most valuable arcade cabinets that has ever existed.
Yes. Yep, that's exactly why. And they did leave it out in the Waste Management Company, the same one I have, because this article is in the Chicago area. Conveniently called Waste Management. That's a good name for a waste management company. Did not take it. They actually put a sign on it telling them they had to break it down before they could take it.
Nice.
So they got kind of lucky because I don't know how they would have taken that thing apart, but it probably would have involved an axe or something that would have made it unusable.
Yeah.
So that's about it for me. Let me look here. Yep, that's about it. What are you even up to?
Well, I beat that turn-based RPG game that I talked about before, so we won't talk about that till Game Club. I'll reveal it then. I'm trying to think. Other than that, let's see. Oh, that Naboo computer arrived. I have not unboxed it. And the second it arrived, I wondered, why do I own a Naboo? And yeah, and you know, it's cool. I want to do the Raspberry Pi project, but I just have so many projects that I don't know when I would get to it. I'll tell you why I own it. It's because I got it for like $55 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think altogether it was like $90-some after shipping. Because the thing is huge, the box.
Yeah, it's huge, yeah.
So it was kind of like a why not purchase. So
yeah, it'll probably still be in a box in a year. We'll check in.
Absolutely, yes. Oh, that reminds me about checking in. Yeah. So I came up with another one of Rob's predictions today. So are you a Mario Kart 8 fan at all?
You're going to have to call it Mario Kart on insert system name for me to know which one you're talking about. Is that the Switch one?
Switch that was on Wii U, yes.
It's the Wii U one. Okay, yes. So yes, I have played that. I even bought the DLC stages on the Wii U.
Me too. I like a lot of them. The last DLC, there was one good one. It was like, oh, the characters in this one are great, but anyway, I was thinking about how they could one-up that, because like, how could Mario Kart 9 be bigger and better, better than that? And my only thought is that they would ditch the Mario name and call it Nintendo Kart, and like just have all kind of like what they did with Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers, yeah. But they also have like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII in there. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my thought. They'll make it like a pay-to-play type thing. It'll be an online service, and probably some NFTs. Yeah, Nintendo hasn't really dipped into NFTs yet.
Oh, I'm just kidding on that part, but just all the other trends that are happening, I think Mario Kart might be part of that. So we shall check back in when the next Mario Kart comes out. But what do we have? We got some news this week. Let's see. I think we could power through these.
Yeah, let's see here. It would help again if, as usual, I had that tab open.
Oh, geez. Let me take this first one because I hate it with all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you put it on. You're like, I don't want to talk about this article. It's awful.
Oh, I want to talk about it because it was like I was born to hate this article.
Okay.
And I'm one of those people that like, you know what? If you don't like something, maybe just don't talk about it. But here we go. PSP receives Raspberry Pi upgrade. So you can murder your Sony PSP and put in like a Raspberry Pi 0 or 02 or a compute module 4 and have this other totally custom PC board in there and do a bunch of emulation inside your PSP.
With less hardware than what's currently in the PSP, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what's more powerful or not. But
do what you can't do with this? Play PSP discs.
Exactly. And you can hack your PSP where you can play all the PSP games. You can play, a 2600 through at least, Super Nintendo. So what's the point of this other than ruining a
Right.
PSP?
Yeah, but like the PSP by itself is a good system. Like
Yes.
it's very low. Like I have a brokengame.com. That's also my list of things I think I should get rid of. And I guess if you told me I could stick a Raspberry Pi Zero in it and play a bunch of emulators in black and white on the game.com, I'd be like, well, I guess it's better than what I'm doing with it right now, which is nothing. Because it doesn't work. But here, if you have a functional PSP, I don't know why you would do this.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe if you find a PSP in the trash and it's unrecoverable, it has like battery acid all over it or something, maybe.
Yeah, that seems like it's worth burning yourself over.
Yes, exactly. And then we go straight from the worst to the best, in my opinion, story of the week. Star Wars TIE Fighter has full remake available to play right now. So I don't know, Hugh, if you remember like 6 years ago when we talked about the X-Wing remake.
Yeah, it's not really a remake though, right? Someone reverse engineered the engine because you still have to own the game to play it. Right?
Yeah, you have to buy it on GOG or something.
Yeah.
Hey, did you watch the video of this?
No,
I know you've been busy, but it's gorgeous. I mean, it is better looking than a lot of like PS4 games I've seen. I cannot wait to play this. I own it, so might as well, right? So I'm really excited for this one. I like TIE Fighter better than X-Wing, so it'll happen. I really hope a lot of our listeners dive into this one. And I didn't know if
I must have put this one. This looks like something I put in like 2 weeks ago. I put it like right after we recorded last time, whenever that was. A Doom port for the Atari XL/XE. So yeah, it looks, it's a great intellectual exercise. I admire the effort put into this, but you would not ever want to play this game.
It looks funny. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It actually moves faster than you would expect, but
I think it legitimately moves faster than Wolfenstein on Apple II GS.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the opposite of the TIE Fighter story. And I think the next one is Zach's, the Glucoboy.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of the Glucoboy. It's probably in a catalog I scanned. I forgot about, but yeah, this is the diabetes testing kit for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I always assumed this existed, but this story kind of goes on to say there was doubt, but that someone has a real one.
Actually, not a terrible idea. I mean,
no.
If you've got diabetes and you need a tester and you carry your Game Boy around, why not?
Especially if you're a kid and that stuff could be scary. This kind of softened that,
Yeah.
I guess they use iPhones and stuff for that now. This next one, I'm hot and cold on this next article, but the, what's his name? Irimajiri?
Okay.
Did I say that right?
No, but I don't know how to correct you either. So.
Okay. Well, he clears the air regarding Sega of America and the Saturn in Japan. And
okay.
Pretty much, he said Klinsky wanted to not have the Saturn released right away in the States and like really focus on the Genesis and 32X at the time because it was still selling well here. And that when that didn't really pan out because they kind of split their markets in two, Saturn for Japan, everything else in the States, and the 32X only sold well for, I don't know, were you working in the store when 32X was released?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So is it safe to say it sold well for like a month?
At launch, absolutely, yeah.
And then nothing?
Yeah, I mean, once you knew the Saturn was coming, it dried up pretty fast after the first holiday season, but it did really well. I mean, you literally sold out. You know, like there were periods where we didn't have any in the store. And that launch lineup, I will argue, is really good.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the 32X. I think it's a cool system. I wish there was a version of Genesis that just had it built in, but that's besides the case.
Yes.
But it goes on to say that after a while, Sega of America was sitting on so much inventory that they were losing so much money in storage fees, and so they were actually talking about like how much it would cost to either give the stuff away or trash it, or what would be cheaper, you know. Mm-hmm. And Tom was given a year to reorganize SOA, and he just didn't do it, and that's why he was asked to step down. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But, you know, one thing about this article that's my takeaway is he said that, you know, when we were designing the Saturn, we wanted to have it make the best 2D games possible. And 3D wasn't really ready. Mm-hmm. And then when it was getting close to launch, they realized how much developers wanted to abandon 2D for 3D. And that's why they put in the second CPU, because it was too late to put in a bigger GPU. I guess the second CPU is, I don't know, easier for some reason. And I'd just like to say that he probably made the correct assumption. Like, in my opinion, you know, PlayStation 3D games looked horrible, and the 2D games were actually better. And, you know, 3D really wasn't ready at that point. It was a little too early, but people didn't want that. They were ready for 3D, so it didn't matter what was better. It just mattered what people wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the early PlayStation games looked kind of rough, but some of them were, I mean, I don't know, Destruction Derby was like a launch title that I thought was pretty good. I mean, you can complain it looks a little blocky or whatever today, but I think at the time it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. But then also, I think Tom was right, too, to say, we just launched this 32X. What are you doing? You know what I mean? It's we can't just keep launching system after system. So I think they were both right. It was a bad situation. PlayStation won that battle.
Yeah.
And this next article, I feel like we talked about this when it was in Japan. Does this seem familiar to you at all?
It does sound familiar, yes. Well,
coming out in the States, the TAITO Laserdisc game collection with 3 games. What are those games? We got Time Gal HD Remaster, Space, Battleship, and Revenge of the Ninja HD Remaster.
Was this in the news because Limited Run Games is going to do a physical print of this or something? Maybe I just made that up.
I think it was. I think that's what brought it, A, to the States, and B, in the news.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I need this one. None of those games are sticking out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I tend to, as you know, I like Laserdisc games, so there's a good chance I'll end up buying the collection anyways.
Yeah.
Just to try these out, because I think Time Gal's maybe the only one I've ever tried.
Yeah, I think me too. And we do have a magazine read this week as a topic.
We do, yeah. TurboForce, Spring 1993. You picked this one.
Yes. It was hard to choose which TurboForce to pick because they're all kind of nostalgic and depressing at the same time.
Yeah, I found this issue to be kind of depressing, really.
What was your reason?
Well, this is not like the twilight period for the TurboGrafx in the US, right? This is like, this system is dead and maybe some people aren't realizing it yet.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that, so the editor of this issue is Ed Semrad. Is that how you pronounce his name? So he was also the editor of EGM, I think. And I think the same parent company owned this publication. So I think this was kind of moonlighting. You know what I mean? They were like, they were never going to do another episode of this.
Yeah. Was this the last issue of the magazine?
I think it's second to last. I could be wrong, though.
Okay. I can go back and look, but I mean, the reality is in like early 1993, the TurboGrafx was not really selling in the U.S. anymore. The Super Nintendo was probably, I mean, again, I'm going off memory here. Like the Super Nintendo was a very hot system. The Genesis was doing very well. And if you wanted a CD thing, like you really weren't getting new chip games for the TurboGrafx at this point. I think maybe Bomberman 93 might have been the last one in the US, something like that. But if you were a CD gamer, the Sega CD already had like a pretty impressive library by spring of 93. And you knew it would have Sega branded stuff. And the things that were coming on the Turbo Duo were, you know, for the most part, not like mainstream appeal type of games.
Yeah. And man, Street Fighter 2 must have been just around the corner, right? For at home? Yeah.
Well, the May catalog I just scanned has Street Fighter 2 for the Genesis advertised. It was already on the Super Nintendo by now.
Yeah, 91, right? Yeah. Oh, that was that Super Nintendo?
Arcade, and then Super Nintendo got it a little bit later. And then, Genesis was 93. It was first advertised in 93. It was delayed. We didn't really get to like fall 93.
Okay, so still, like, are you going to play Fighting Street or Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, you know, I guess I'm taking some of my notes out of order here, but like when you look through this magazine, there's just so many like really good games, but also like, this is it. These are the last things you're ever getting for this system.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You can tell really early on. So like the first section is letters. I always love letters to the editor because they're sort of like a proto Reddit, I guess. And, you know, one of the letters is complaining how the previous issue included like a movie review.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Hey, you know why? Because there wasn't enough TurboGrafx content to fill an entire magazine.
Yeah, and the editor pretty much goes on to respond to say, like, we thought you would be interested in literally anything else as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that the cover art for this is incredible. It's like an anime manga cover for Exile Wicked Phenomenon.
Yeah.
But it must have been a time to work on Turbo Duo stuff around this time because NEC Hudson abandoned you, so you created the TTI company and you were just on your own to make it work. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of cool. But on page 1, if you want to know it's not going well, you could cut out the side of page 1, send it in with your info, and they'll send you a free TurboTap. It doesn't even look like you need to include shipping. It's hard for me to zoom in and actually see.
It's a little hard to read, yeah. Is that the Turbo... yeah, because it's a different tap for the Duo. It has to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plays on both Duo and TurboGrafx systems. Interesting. So they must have had a warehouse of those sitting around.
Yeah, I've just zoomed in a lot and I cannot see. Oh yeah, you need to specify. You need to check the box if you need a TurboTap or a Duo tap. But that's an ad for Bomberman 3 and it really makes the TurboTap look weird. And like you said, we have letters to the editor.
Got a big Bonk 3 preview here, which I was never that big on. I guess I like Bonk's Revenge a lot better.
That's going to be a game club game someday, Bonk 3, just so I finally finish it. Have you ever played this Exile Wicked Phenomenon?
Long time ago, yeah. I have it. I don't know. These games they're okay.
That's the thing. They're okay.
Yeah, Exile is kind of okay. I mean, I'm sure it has some fans, but there was better stuff out. Like, it just wasn't great. Mm-hmm. What is fun, though, is Ride Zone. So you get to Riot Zone later on here. And this is just a beat 'em up game like not Fatal Fury. What's the one I'm thinking of?
For Fighting Street or
Final Fight.
Final Fight. Thank you. We got there.
Yes,
we got there
eventually. So it's just like Final Fight with pretty good soundtrack, pretty fun soundtrack, and it's just easy and fun game. I actually like this game. It doesn't have I think it only has 2 playable characters. And it has some weird like regional differences too, because I guess in Japan it uses some licensed characters that weren't cleared for the US. So there's some like minor differences between the 2 versions, but it's fun. I mean, it's not like they could say 25 levels. They're kind of stretching with that. I think there's really like 5 stages that maybe each have 5 screens.
Oh, nice.
So I think they're stretching the definition of 25 levels, if I remember the game correctly. But yeah, it's fun. That's a perfectly decent game. Although you need to get that free Turbo Tap to really enjoy it. Yeah.
Next page, we have Sherlock Holmes and Terraforming.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of late releases are here. This is Sherlock Holmes Volume 2. Volume 1 had been out for a while and was a pack-in game on the Sega CD. But this is the sequel. And then, yeah, there's some good games coming up. I mean, Terraforming's a good game. Magical Chase, I know, has a kind of a decent following. Bomberman 93, people, of course, love. I love that's a fun game. Sim Earth, it's got to be a 4U type of game. I've tried it. I don't get it at all.
Which one?
Sim Earth.
That's one of the Sims I haven't played. It doesn't look fun.
I don't know what. I really never figured it out. But then it has Dungeon Explorer 2, which is really one of the best games on the system ever.
Yeah.
Great game.
We should tell people that each game we're listing off here is an entire page in this magazine that has some custom, really cool artwork, a lot of screenshots, descriptions of the characters and the game. It's really, really well done.
But for whatever reason, it gives Shapeshifter like 4 or 5 pages, and this is not a good game.
I own this one, and I'll go back to it one day, I guess.
Yeah, I did not like this game. And then it has an anime, a cartoon review, which at least there's some overlap there.
Well, it's not Turbo Duo specific, so we should find the editor and firebomb his house.
Yeah, we should, yeah. I think the premise is that if you're a Turbo Duo holdout in 1993, you're probably in that small group of people that watched anime at that same time period.
Yeah.
Versus
absolutely.
today, this stuff is very common, but
yeah.
Just else? A Japan lifestyle article. The one that I tell you is a really bad sign is this article that is called Minds in the Media, which is a reprint of an article from a different magazine.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Yeah.
It just talks about how Sid Mead, the guy that did Terraforma, also worked on Blade Runner and Tron, the movies, and is just a really talented dude. And also a funny synopsis and review of Army of Darkness, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to point out the TTI tip line. They announced their number changed. And so with 2 Google searches, I found that the number belongs to someone named Kelly in Los Angeles. I won't read her full name. And that she's the general manager of a property management company out there.
Oh, neat.
So her phone number is in TurboForce.
I'm just picturing like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer gets the phone number that's like 1 digit off of movie phone.
Yeah.
And just starts answering the movie phone questions. Because if I was her, I would just answer the tip line questions that came in.
Absolutely. Today. Yeah. I would be a Bonk 3 expert. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. So
sneak preview of 40 games
at CES.
Yeah, we got almost none of these. I think all these did get released in Japan. I had to look at the list to see if anything was outright total vaporware.
Yeah, they list CD Zonk, which I think is Super Air Zonk.
Super Air Zonk, it is, yeah. Yeah, that one. Let's see what else. Oops, I just
Gain Ground. I don't think, did we
Never
get that
got
one?
that, no.
Okay.
No, you got that on like Sega Genesis or something though. Like, but like Dragon Slayer 2, definitely not. That is a huge translation project, and that never got ported.
I don't think Ranma 1/2 made it here.
Yeah, I mean, Beyond Shadowgate made it here. Gradius 2 did not, even though that's probably not a big localization project, but didn't make it. Cosmic Fantasy 3, that's another huge localization project. That's like a multi-disc. That's like it's a huge game. And it comes in a multi-disc case. It's only one disc. And because there's some big manual. And yeah, that didn't come out. King of Monsters 2 did not.
Did that come out
Macross
for
Power Golf
anything
2.
other than Neo Geo?
I think in Japan you can play King of Monsters 2 on the Turbo Duo. Like World Heroes is listed on here. World Heroes for sure is it was a Japanese release.
Yeah. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, and then on the last page it has Retro Mags who digitized this, and I was like, it took me a minute to realize this wasn't just an advertisement because it really looks like one. I was like, wow, this company was really ahead of their time, trying to save old magazines.
No. Oh, also on page 27. So this is all the great things that are coming out this year, most of which did not come out. TTI also previewed the second generation prototype of the Intelligent Link, the SCSI adapter that will turn the Duo into an all-purpose CD-ROM drive for personal computers.
Yeah, that's the one they demoed on Computer Chronicles with, I think, a Macintosh.
Yeah.
It's a cool project.
Yeah, would have been cool. Computer drives were super expensive back then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on TurboForce?
No, I mean, it is kind of I know I'm always fascinated by seeing the last days of systems, and this is really the last few days of the TurboGrafx in the US. So you think there's one issue after this?
I forget. I either picked the last issue or second to last, but man, TurboGrafx has so many great games, but in the end, nothing killer released like the last 2 years. I mean, other than stuff like Bomberman 3, but not everyone cares about that.
I think this was the last issue from what I'm seeing, but
I think it was.
I know one of the things I wanted to look at some point was the last issue of 3DO magazine.
I didn't even know there was a first issue.
Yeah, there's like 7 issues of total, or 8. There's not very many issues. That's the point.
Nice.
But that's what I'd like to look back on sometime too. It's a lot of like, hey, the M2 is coming. We super promise it's going to be great. Oh,
yeah,
here's some. I think they preview like PlayStation games in it. They were getting so desperate at the end.
Yeah. They probably had an obligation to readers to send out so many issues, and they just gave up after a while.
Yeah, that's why I think. Well, hold on here. 3DO magazine. I think this was like first of all, I believe it was like a UK publication, so I don't know that we necessarily got it in the US. It looks like I think 12 is the last issue. Well, I remember what the cover looks like. I gotta open it real quick here. It's taking forever. Yeah, July 1996. I mean, you could not buy 3DO in July 1996. They were gone.
Yeah.
Like the system did not exist. But that's one we can look back at too. I mean, you want to see like a dead system. This is what a magazine for a dead system looks like. Yeah, it has a feature on Mario 64.
Nice. Yeah, we absolutely have to read that one.
Yeah.
Well, should we move on to Game Club?
Yeah, let's do that.
Both of ours are pretty quick. I'll just power through mine. I did Berzerk. It's a Stern game. From when was that? 1980. Ported to the 2600, the 5200, the Vectrex. Someone in one of our listener feedback mentions a Nintendo port of it, but I didn't see that.
No, not Nintendo. Was there a Famicom port? I didn't see that either.
I don't know. But so you play a dude, a human, who, runs around mazes, and there's, robot androids trying to shoot at you. If you wait too long, a bouncy smiley face. What's his name? Otto something?
Yeah, Otto. Yeah, Crazy Otto, something like that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Berserk for the
Otto.
NES is Evil Otto. So Berserk on the NES is a homebrew game that someone did.
Oh, okay. That's why I was confused. Okay. But so, this is a pretty early game. I think it plays really well. Pretty much anything touches you, you die. I love that you could shoot diagonally in this. That seemed pretty advanced for the time. And I think it's fun for a few quarters. I played the 2600 port. I played the arcade port. The Vectrex port is pretty cool. It doesn't have the synthetic sounds, the synthetic voice, but it still plays pretty well. I think a lot of people have the same experience I did, where this game terrified me as a kid. The voice was scary. And a smiley face coming to kill you, I don't know why that's scary. Kind of like a clown, a scary clown movie type thing.
Kind of, yeah.
But not much else to say about it. All good things. As it's a pretty early game, so it's not too advanced. But I really like it. I have the Atari cart, and I played it a billion times as a kid. So, what are your thoughts on Berzerk?
Yeah, I actually played this like immediately after we recorded last week or last time.
Me too.
Because I didn't want to forget about it. So I just fired it up, 2600 version real quick. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a really great game for the 2600. The player moves kind of slow in the 2600 version, but if he moved faster, it would be like way too easy.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Like, I don't think there's any way to win this game. I mean, maybe there is. But I view it as like one of these little like 5-minute distraction games. Like, I'm just going to fire it up for a minute and, play a couple floors and then move on. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. If I have a 2600 in front of me, it's like, am I going to do Berzerk or Asteroids?
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about it. Want to move on to yours?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I've been picking some bad games lately. Not bad, but uninteresting. So I picked Crossbow, which I like. I think I just like the cabinet. I'm coming to realize I just like the way this game looks. I didn't look into the logistics of replacing this game, of replacing like the controller, but I assume like that Discs of Tron is pretty rare. Crossbow was probably more common, but that controller is so specialized that, having a whole cabinet like this is probably pretty hard to do. A whole functional cabinet.
Yeah,
right?
It's like Paperboy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the graphics, I think, are still good. I mean, honestly, I could play a game with this graphical style and not be disappointed. It's just not that much fun, I guess. The people you're protecting are all moving super slow.
Yeah, how would you describe this game to someone who hasn't played it?
You're a sniper. It's a sniper escort mission game. So there are these villagers that are trying to cross some area, and everything in the area is trying to kill them. Just a constant barrage of things attempting to kill these people you're protecting. But you're up in like a sniper's nest somewhere with your crossbow, and you shoot all the things that are trying to kill the villagers.
Yes. And sometimes it's hard to tell who's good and who's not.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the point. Very slow-moving people that you are protecting with the crossbow.
What version did you play?
So I just tried the version here that we linked to in archive.org, which is, I guess, not a good way to play it. Because I don't have a TV. Like, even if I had something I could play this, I don't have anything I can use a light gun with right now. Like, this is something you maybe could have ported to, like, the Wii. There was a crossbow controller for the Wii, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
It'd be stupid if there wasn't, yeah.
So, like, maybe you could port something like that, but it's, I think you got to really love the style of game. And I picked it also because we were talking about first-person shooters in the previous episode, and it is sort of a first-person shooter.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's like they definitely called out T2 as being a first-person shooter, right? So this would also be a first-person shooter.
It's funny you say that you like how this game looks, because I never really played this game before. Okay. I've probably played it once or twice, but I never really go to it in an arcade because it almost, to me, the cabinet almost looks like an electrical mechanical game. Like it just seems like too ancient for me to enjoy.
Yeah, I wonder if they use some old parts for the crossbow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the crossbow really that looks really old. I don't know. I think, what did I play this on? I think I played it on, is it on Atari 50?
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
What did I either played it on that or the, or on OpenFPGA, the Steam.
Yeah, it doesn't say it's on Atari 50 on the page about it here.
What the heck did I play it on? It must have been on my Pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been.
Not a great way to play it either.
I mean, that's, using a controller with that. It was not good. What do you want to play next?
I think I'm going to wrap up the 1983 arcade journey with Congo Bongo.
Nice.
A game I thought we had done, but we did not do.
That's shocking, actually.
Yeah, I looked at all our previous notes, and I did not see Congo Bongo. There are a few home ports that are pretty good, and of course, the arcade version.
I am going with the game that made me maybe like turn-based RPGs, or at least just one, and Hugh got it right. It's Phantasy Star.
Yeah. Yeah, because you made a reference about it, like you playing it with like some quality of life improvements. I know on the Switch they added a map.
And we'll talk about it next time. But yeah. Well, cool. So if anyone plays Congo Bongo, Phantasy Star, Crossbow, Berzerk, if you destroy a PSP, don't email us. If you read any fun old magazines, if you play that new Star Wars TIE Fighter, or anything retro like that, please email us and let us know. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. If you want to buy some of Hugh's old light guns as well.
Yeah, I don't know what I can do with those things. It's just, they just take up so much space.
Yeah.
And I don't know I got a few other items that I'm like, geez, do I bother eBaying this stuff, or I don't know.
eBay's rough, but Jason writes in, he loved the Laserdisc episode. As a kid, he loved playing Cobra Command in arcades, and it was the highlight of his trip to White Lake, North Carolina, when he visit the arcades out there. It's a bit of a helicopter sim. He was able to make the connection that it wasn't a conventional game. It was all about making the correct movies within a short period of time. Based on the name, he thought it was a G.I. Joe in the G.I. Joe universe. Plus, the animation looked like a G.I. Joe cartoon. He'd love to play the game. He tried it on MAME, but it turns out you kind of need a powerful computer to do that Laserdisc emulation. And I've never played that one, I don't think. That's not the top-down helicopter game we were talking about,
No,
right?
It's not. No. I don't know that one, no. Why am I drawing a blank on that game?
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to check that out. Thank you, Jason, for the email. Do you think you could take the next one?
Yeah. Actually, Majors writes in. He asks us if our Laserdisc episode coincided with the release of this TAITO collection. It did not.
We wish.
Just a total coincidence.
Yeah.
You know. In 2006, there's a Laserdisc-ish game called The Act that was released, which looks, he sent some pictures of the cabinet, so I see what he's talking about. I guess I have to actually see it. Track and Field. He talked about the old pencil trick for spamming the buttons in the arcade. Have you ever seen someone do that?
Yes.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes. It looks like it hurts.
It does, yeah. It's a painful game to play for various reasons. He mentions that it's on the Konami collection for the DS, where you can set turbo. You can have a turbo fire option added. Like in the game, it supports turbo fire.
Nice, cool.
So for things like 100-meter dash, they have no timing at all, just mashing. And then the other events, it has an auto run feature. And you just have to know when to press, jump, or throw.
That's a good idea, yeah.
And then he sent us a picture of Granny and the Gators. I was not familiar with this. This is another combo pinball/arcade combo game, like Baby Pac-Man.
It already looks better than Baby Pac-Man.
I sort of like Baby Pac-Man. I like the cabinet of Baby Pac-Man. I guess Baby Pac-Man is not the greatest game ever.
That's it. It's a good-looking cabinet.
Yeah. So Granny and the Gators is, by a woman, I assume, retired in Florida, having alligator problems.
Well, they can...
As one does in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, I won't get into that. Never mind.
No. My wife had a friend who moved to Florida, and they had gator problems pretty quickly. They were surprised how
That's awesome.
How long they were not living there long before an alligator was just like in their backyard.
That's great.
Like, what do you do about it? Well, it's a gator.
Yeah. Yes. It will win.
Yeah.
SM Olivia writes in, just finished the last episode. The discussion of the 1987 EB holiday catalog was great, given I'm currently working on a blog post about 1987 computer games. I guess we mentioned that it never mentioned Tandy's specific games, but he assumes that it's become by this point, it's because they were PC compatible instead of like being TRS 80s. But many game publishers would list Tandy on the box because it was more common than IBM PC at the time. And he lists a good example as Bard's Tale, which I did own that one, but for the I think for the 2GS, I could be wrong, but Tandy was so weird at the time because it was like partially mimicking the PC Junior. Plus, it had like a little bit of different things. Like, didn't it have like a built-in DOS or something?
That's something. Yeah, we had Tandys at one. I'm old enough that Tandy was the computer we had in high school. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember having to put a disk in to boot it.
I'm not saying SM Olivia is wrong. I'm saying you're right. I'm just saying, with a side story of that, Tandys were weird. Even the PC compatible ones.
Yeah. So it was. We could talk about this in more detail. I'm just looking at the specs. It ran an Intel 8088. So yeah, it could run anything kind of required for DOS, built for DOS, I guess. It's been a while since I've thought about the Tandy, but again, I sort of am still partial towards my theory that Tandy was owned by Radio Shack. And Radio Shack was a competitor to Electronics Boutique at the time, so they were never going to print the word Tandy in any of their catalogs.
Yeah.
That I just know how petty companies get about stuff like that. So it's just...
Didn't it have some weird, like, CGA or EGA mode? I don't know. It's like Tandy graphics or something.
Yeah, Tandy.
Maybe that was the difference. Or it's like maybe some of them supported the Tandy graphics. Again, I could be totally wrong, but...
Yeah, I remember them as being pretty good computers. So it's just I don't, as much as I like retro games, I don't really get into retro computers too much because they just take up so much space.
Guess what words I'm about to say to you?
Okay. Is it going to get a mister?
Yes. Okay. Because it could do 46, like 100, I think. See, I should just tattoo Mister backwards on my forehead.
That's I'm sure your wife would appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Adam writes in, said he really enjoyed the first-person shooter documentary talk that we had.
That was fun.
Said he really enjoyed the Quake 2021 remaster, and that his favorite FPS all-time is Quake 3 Arena, because it was just the right time in life. He was 17, just graduated from high school, and played it on the Dreamcast with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to write about Berzerk. He says his favorite version is the Vectrex version. It's a little slower, but the robot animations and, of course, vectors look magnificent.
Yes, absolutely.
And he recommends to you, if you're getting into Vectrex, there are some homebrew games, Vector Pilot and Vector Patrol.
I will absolutely grab those for sure.
And you also watched the Doom movie, and I want to know when there will be a Quake or Duke Nukem movie.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I know there's a Twisted Metal series now, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so you're down on the Twisted Metal series? Have you seen it?
No, I probably never will.
Okay. I probably won't either, but I don't watch a ton of TV, but like with this whole like writer's strike thing, we're not going to get new TV shows for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So it might just be like, if I'm going to watch something, I guess I'll just put on the only thing I haven't seen yet.
Right. I mean, like, even when the strike is over, we still have like 12 months of like nothing but reality shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not getting a lot of new content, man. If you're starved for new content, take what you can get right now.
Maybe I'll just get more into turn-based RPGs.
Maybe, yeah. I would say, though, if you enjoyed Phantasy Star 2 is like 100 times grindier.
I'm hoping that it's on the Genesis collection on the Switch. I'm hoping they ungrinded it a bit.
So, yeah, one of the collections has, like, they literally took, like, the easy mode ROM hack off the internet and included that as an option.
Perfect. Probably that's all I want, yeah.
Yeah, that's some weird legal territory, right? Because I guess it depends how the author of the ROM hack licensed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we got with social media feedback? Thoughts on turn-based RPGs?
Thoughts on Berzerk, too.
Yeah.
People like Berzerk.
Yeah. A lot of people like the synth, yeah. Someone lists Humanoid. I don't know that band, but I guess they sampled the speech synthesis. And,
okay.
Yeah. And then also...
Probably Daft Punk did, too. Like, I don't...
It was Rafternaut that did our song, that or one of our bumper songs that lists the Nintendo 2-player version.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a fan game. Turn-based RPG. Someone predicted you were playing 7th Saga for the Super Nintendo.
No, but if I should try it, recommend it to me.
Someone else recommends Bard's Tale.
Yep.
Shadowrun Returns, which that's like a tactical RPG. I don't know if there's a huge difference between the two, but like the battle system, I like Shadowrun Returns is great, but yeah, it's more like a Final Fantasy Tactics type of game.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo is like an action RPG. You might like that one better.
Okay.
Might and Magic is recommended here too. Of course, Baldur's Gate, Diablo, Final Fantasy 4, and 6 and 10. Someone recommends.
A lot of people have recommended 10 to me.
Yeah, 10's very story driven. I mean, 10 is literally like I opened up the hero's journey on Wikipedia and just wrote a game following it.
Okay. A lot of people recommend 12 to me as well.
Oh, I would recommend 10 over 12.
Okay. Obviously 1 through 6.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend 6, and I liked 5 a lot, but 5 maybe isn't for everyone.
Mm.
Some of the ones like 2 and 3 are kind of rough to go back to.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, you might not want to start with those.
Yeah, someone playing Final Fantasy 16 is now missing turn-based RPGs.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Xenoblade get some shout-outs there. Final Fantasy 7 Remake isn't really turn-based. I mean, you can adjust the battle engine so it has like different styles, I guess. But you played that already, didn't you?
Which one?
Final Fantasy 7 Remake?
Yes, I liked it. Yeah.
It's just it's Uncharted, but in Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, it actually took me a while to get good at it. I really wasn't good at it till the last boss, because I really didn't use the healing system at all.
Oh.
Like, use one of your people to heal the others. Anyone coming from a turn-based, now I realize that would be obvious.
Yes. Well, and like Crisis Core, which is the Final Fantasy 7 prequel, is really good, and that's not turn-based, really. I mean, the battle system is action-based, more like Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Are you talking about, because Crisis Core just got remade as well?
Yeah,
you're talking about that one or the original?
Well, they're the same game. It's just one looks better.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
The original game is one you can play on a functional PSP that you have not mutilated.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's really, like, I can't believe that game fit on the PSP. Like, I was just shocked because that game has so much video content. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge world. Like, there's just so much in that game that I thought it was too big for the PSP. But the remake is really good too. It's just a nicely, the graphics are cleaned up a little bit, and I found it to be a lot easier than the original game. The original game was kind of tough, and they sort of tweaked it a little bit. There's no easy mode on it. There's just kind of one difficulty level, but it's I'll just say it was easier than the first game, or maybe I just knew like the tricks to like powering up your character faster.
Okay, all right. I'll put it on my list. And obviously, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Everyone recommends that one. Wild Arms is in here, and I know that's on. I think that's on what the PlayStation Classic.
PlayStation
yeah,
it's on the Classic. Yeah. Well, really, anything beyond the Classic if you know what to do. But it's definitely on the Classic. It was on there. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, again, that's email@retrogameclub.net, and Zach does all the socials. So thank you, Zach.
Yep. Thank you.
And all this is on our link tree, which is in our show notes. And see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.